John 9 is one of those stories that first helped me see scripture in color. I was in my early 20s, nestled in my apartment in Chicago, reading John 9. And I don't know what it was, but something about this story grabbed my attention. Maybe it was the dialogue between the man and the religious leaders that follows after verse 12. Maybe it was the intimate exchange between Jesus and this man born blind, where Jesus kneels down and makes mud with his saliva. Makes me think about in Genesis, God creates man out of the dust. There's something very earthy and tactile about this moment where God is recreating something in the man. But here's what I want to talk about today. Unrecognizable change. Jesus does something in this man. He literally restores sight to the blind. And when the man returns to his community, they can't decide, is this really him? This is nothing like him. He was blind and now he sees. Is that possible? And I know that miracles are difficult for me to grapple with. If Jesus could heal one person, why doesn't he heal everybody? But when I linger in that question, I think I miss the point. What Jesus is doing here is making unrecognizable change in this man's life. It's instantaneous in this moment, but I wonder, with a life following after Jesus, with walking in his footsteps, does he not also make us unrecognizable too? When we follow Jesus, do we believe that he can heal things in our life or restore parts of our story and make us new, such that people we knew in our past life, our past ways of being, might say, is that really Hannah? She was never like that before. What happened in her life that led to this kind of change? I had the privilege of going to Israel after I was studying abroad in college, and we were walking through this place called Hezekiah's Tunnel. It's the ancient water source for the city, and it dumps out into this pool where, when I was there were all these children, like ordinary Israeli children, splashing in the water. And our guide said, this is the Pool of Siloam. Like the Pool of Siloam where this teaching actually happened. And there was something in that moment of being in the physical place, seeing ordinary modern day kids splashing in that water, that made this miracle real. I mean, this isn't some fantasy fairy tale landscape where this story takes place. It's a real place that you can visit, with water you can touch and ruins you can see. And it always brings for me the question of, what if this really happened? Like, what if Jesus really did restore sight to this blind man? This is a place where I could go and sit and see. It's not a cartoon. It's not a superhero. This was a real person who changed this man's life. The man was blind, but now he sees. And John goes to great lengths to verify that this actually happened. The guy is actually suffers consequences for this miracle in his life. So as I sit back and reflect on John 9, 1 through 12, here's the question I'm sitting with. 1, do I believe that Jesus can make unrecognizable change in our lives? If so, where do I need to follow him? What is the change he's trying to work in me, whether it's instantaneous through this miraculous moment or the long obedience of following him in that same direction? And then 2, just confronting this reality. If this really happened in a real place and time with real people, what does that mean for me? For me, when I sit back with that question, and this is somebody I want to pay attention to. It's somebody I want to follow. I don't know any miracle workers today. All of the miracles I hear promised on TV and through advertising to make my life better, faster, quicker, richer, none of them carry through. If Jesus can do this for the blind man, imagine what he could do for you and me.